So the more time goes on, the more I feel like I'm kind of suffering from a sort of a arrested development when it comes to just kind of the consumption of fiction in general, just or media in general. More and more and more, I'm totally unable to motivate myself, like to watch or read pretty much anything except fantasy. Wait, no, I'll give a few exceptions there. I do really love Cobra Kai, the sequel to The Karate Kid, which started on YouTube Red and went over to Netflix, and I'll always love James Bond, and also I like, Mission Impossible and the new Top Gun. We'll just call it Tom Cruise movies. That's its own genre, right? Tom Cruise movies. So like, yeah, I like Cobra Kai and James Bond and Tom Cruise movies, but other than that, I don't know, more and more and more, I just, even like stuff that's really, really acclaimed. Like, for example, this year, all year, everyone's been talking constantly about Better Call Saul, and I tried a little bit, but I just couldn't motivate myself to. Whenever you're watching a TV show or a movie and you find your just hand drifting over to your phone, just kind of almost unconsciously, just like a sort of a reflex. Yeah, for me, it's just when I was a little bit younger, I used to just keep watching shows that I barely even like cared about that much, and just was on my phone or on my laptop the entire time. These days, I just take that as a sign that, yeah, obviously I don't need to be spending my time doing this. And yeah, it's just so hard for me to. Yeah, there's so many like acclaimed. Like, I haven't seen any of the last few like Best Picture winners, as much as you care about the Oscars, or most of the nominees, or mostly anything with any kind of artistic ambitions, or yeah, just about anything. I just like want to watch like fantasy stuff, not even like sci-fi. Like, I don't even like really watch like much of like Star Trek, or I've never seen like The Expanse or whatever the hell else sci-fi people are into these days. I just want to like read fantasy books and then watch fantasy TV movies and TV shows, and yeah, I can't motivate my brain to want to do anything else anymore. I don't know. I'm like regressing in that way, because I used to, going back to even when I was a teenager, even when I was in high school, I tried to explore a deeper world of like media and fiction, but now I'm just kind of I'm just totally like lost in the world of fantasy, and any attempt to pull myself out of it is like a kind of like a painful and unpleasant one. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that says about me. I'm living in the best time for that, it seems. Well, look, I have the exact same suspicions about this Lord of the Rings of Power, that I think everyone else does. I wasn't even particularly a big fan of the way that the Hobbit movie, the Hobbit trilogy from about a decade ago, Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy, I wasn't really even a fan of the way that changed the novel. So I look at the Rings of Power and I'm like, oh boy. But that said, I'm still going to watch every second of it, because I just... I'm just obsessed with fantasy. We got the House of the Dragon going on now. Obviously, there's like, Wheel of Time, for what that's worth. The Willow TV show coming up, and I got a backlog of just hundreds and hundreds of fantasy novels to read. And yeah, I just find all my time. I want to spend all my time basically doing that. As far as like consuming fiction or media goes, I don't know. It's why am I so like lost in that? I don't know. Maybe it's a form of like disappointment with the real world. I don't know if that's inward, like disappointment with my own life and my lot in it, or disappointment outward with the way that just things in the world have been developing. Things are very underwhelming in a lot of ways compared to what I'd hoped for 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But I'll tell you what, it's easier to access media than anything else, so I understand the... I don't judge people who, what's the expression, LDAR, lie down and rot, just consuming themselves, just binging media all day, because that's more and more what I do. I'm certainly no one can say that I'm not a reader. I'm blowing through hundreds of pages a week. You might say I'm not a sophisticated reader, and you'd probably be accurate. The last couple of books I read did in fact contain elves and orcs, so I'm not really reading the classics, not really reading the literary canon. The books I'm reading probably wouldn't make it onto any university English syllabus. We'll just say that much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to have so much fantasy TV to watch coming up. Movies are one thing, and I guess there is a Dungeons and Dragons movie coming up next year. I'm a little suspicious looking at the trailer. It looks really comedic, like really comedic. Like it looks like a full-blown action comedy. Pretty much looks like the tone of like Guardians of the Galaxy or something, which that's fine for that. I don't know if it's necessarily what I want, kind of like an epic high fantasy to be, but I guess they're trying to maybe differentiate themselves from Lord of the Rings in that way. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. The Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out 22 years ago, the Courtney Solomon one with what was the main character's name? Ridley, I think, and his sidekick Snails. That one was criticized at the time for being too comedic and goofy, but no, they haven't run away from that. They've embraced it instead in this new one coming up, it looks like. But like I said, I'll certainly see it. And yeah, but I don't know. I just becoming more and more ensconced in that world as time goes on. The standard is you read some of that pulpy crap as like a teen, you know, right? But no, I'm actually just reading that stuff even more and more and more as the years go on. I'm just totally I can't motivate myself to care about anything else. I look at these lists TV critics make of the top show of the year, and I'm just like, no, I haven't seen that, haven't seen that, haven't seen that, haven't seen that, haven't seen that. And for the most part, I don't say that in the way of I mean to remedy that and see that. I'm mostly like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm just my ability to care is just withering away and more as time goes on. I just totally lost in the worlds of fantasy. And I should also mention in video games too. Maybe video games are a slight exception to that, because I'll occasionally play stuff set in a sci-fi setting there. But for the most part, yeah, I just kind of like playing a lot of Zelda and Final Fantasy games also. So I'm still kind of trapped in the fantasy world there too, aren't I? I downloaded that Tales of what was the new one? Tales of Arise, I think it was, the newest one. I really love that Tales of Symphonia on GameCube back when I was kind of at the tail end of high school, like 2004. That was a great game. The sequels I got a little less into, but I don't know. This Tales of Arise seems pretty cool. I'll probably just sink into that for a while. I'll just alternate between playing that and playing old Zelda and Final Fantasy games and reading my Dungeons and Dragons-y types books and watching these, Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings TV shows. Is it a sad, existence? Maybe to some extent, but, I'm sure back in the days, the sort of days depicted in these medieval set media, they would have killed to have some tales like that to consume, wouldn't they? But, there are exceptions. I'll probably check out the Halloween Ends in a couple months. Supposedly the last Halloween movie ever. I would assume certainly the last one with Jamie Lee Curtis, right? I mean, they'll probably reboot it in another 10 years, but yeah, I'll check that out. So there you go. There's my my one delving into non-fantasy fiction at this point in my life is a slasher movie. Very sophisticated, but yeah, I'll keep trying to review some of these fantasy TV shows. Probably on this channel, my second channel, I'll kind of do off-the-cuff episode by episode reviews of some of these shows as they come out. Maybe I assume that Willow will be doing week by week. That seems to be what Disney Plus usually does, and I'll certainly have things to say on that. And then on my main channel, I'll probably try to do somewhat higher quality by my standards, which are not super high. Kind of more edited, kind of scripted reviews of these shows once the seasons are over. I try not to get too into the episode by episode review scene these days because I spent a long time reading websites like the AV Club and other ones like that, obsessed with that kind of thing. Another thing I wasted countless hours of my one finite life on back in the day. Now these episode by episode reviews, they'll be a little more kind of off the cuff. Just I'll spend 10 minutes recording them, 10 minutes editing them, and then upload them, and that'll be about it. Then I'll try to do whole season reviews kind of at the end. But yeah, that's so if you're ever wondering what I'm doing at any given point, don't know why you would, because I'm super uninteresting, but if you ever are, chances are if I'm not working out or sleeping, I don't sleep too much, but I try now and then, I'm probably either reading a fantasy novel, watching a fantasy TV show, or playing a fantasy video game, because that is what I do. For better or for worse. It's all swords and magics and orcs and elves and wizards for me from here on out. Cause what the fuck else am I supposed to do? Yeah, watch the news? That's not gonna fucking happen.